Hello everyone, welcome back to our second part of the video series where we are building an event management app using Flutter and Appwrite. In our first part, we have created a login and sign up UI. We have also added the Appwrite authentication logic for login, sign up and logout. Using shared preferences, we have saved users' data locally inside the device. So, if you have not watched the previous video, you might face some difficulties in this video. So, make sure to watch it. In this video, we are mainly going to focus on creating a new event where we have created several text form field, and we have also added date picker, time picker, and using file picker, we are also uploading the image inside our Appwrite cloud storage bucket, and we are also saving the event details inside Appwrite database collections. And we are also reading all the events that we have created and displaying them inside our home page. So let's begin. Here, inside our home page, let us add a floating action button, and it will have an icon of add. Now let us change the decoration. Now it's okay. When the user press this add button, the user will be redirected to the create event page, and there they can create a new event. So let us create the create event page. It will be a stateful widget. It will be a scaffold. It will have a body where it will have a column. There it will have a text of create event. And now let us link it with the floating action button. Let's use navigator.push method and push it to the create event page. We are going to use this text style multiple number of times. So let us just copy this text and create a custom widget format. Let us create a custom head text. It will be a stateful widget. And here we are going to paste the code. Here we are expecting a text. And we will use this text here. We need to import this color. So now it's all done. Now we can simply call this custom head text and we can use this. In our create event, let us use this custom head text, and here the text will be create event. So now it's okay, but we need to add a sized box first. Let it be height of 16. Let it be height of 50. Now it's okay. In our previous video, we had created a custom widget that was custom input form. We are going to use this form. Let us give it an icon of icons.event. Outline, and here it will be event name. And hint will be, we don't need an hint, so it's okay. Now we need to create several forms like this. It will be description. It will be location. Let us change the cross axis alignment to start. Now we need it for date time, and then we need it for guest, and then we need it for sponsors. It will be guest. Here the icon will be of people. Enter list of guests. It will be date time. So now it's okay, but we need to add the image uploading button that's missing. So let us add it. It will be above the event name text form field. So let us add a container. It will have a width of double dot infinity, and height of media query, it will be 30% of the device height. So now we have added the container. Let us add some colors to it. Now it's okay. Let us also add a border radius. Now we have defined colors 2 times. For that reason we are getting this error. Simply we need to add colors inside box decoration. Now restart the app. So now it's okay. Let's add a size box. So we have created all the text form field and image uploading field. Let us add this column inside a padding. It will look more better. Now it's okay. Inside our container, we need some text, otherwise the user will not be able to understand why this container is there. So it will be a child, it will have a column, children, and inside there, it will have an icon, photo, it will have an icon of photo, add photo, let's specify some size and also a color. Let's give it a sized box of height 8, and then we are going to add a text like add event image. Let us have some random text style. So now it's okay, but let us make it in center. We need to make this column main axis alignment to center, and now it's okay. Here we can increase the size of padding a little bit. And here we can also add a sized box of like 30, or make it just 25. And here we are getting bottom overflow. So to fix this, we can wrap this with single child scroll view. Now it's okay. It's scrollable also. It's also scrollable. Now we need to add functionality to this buttons. Let's do it. We need to create controllers for this. We need to add name controller, description controller, location controller, then date time controller, guest controller, and then sponsors controller. Here we need to add the several text editing controllers, so let us do it. Final text editing controller. First will be our name controller. Second one will be our description controller. Third one will be our location controller. Then our date time controller. Then our guest controller. And then sponsors controller. Simply we need to link those controllers with the text field, our custom text field that we have created. Like here, controller will be name controller, and for this controller will be description controller. For this it will be location controller. For this it will be date controller. And for this it will be our guest controller. And for this we will use our sponsor controller. Now everything is okay. Now everything is okay, but for date time, let us add a date time picker. It will be more better. For date time, let us add a date time picker instead of writing text. For the date time, what we can do, instead of enter date time, we can say pick up date time. And here, when the user click this, they can get a on tap function which will open our date and time picker. So to use it, let us create a function first. Let us create a function here. To pick up date and time from the user. So it will be a future function. Select date time. Let's add a final date time first. Okay, we're going to use the function, inbuilt function. Here we are going to use the inbuilt function show date picker. This is an inbuilt function, and what we are going to pass, we need context here, so we need to also pass build context. Initial date will be datetime.now. And first date will also be datetime.now. And last date may be some date that can never come, like this 2100. we are still getting some error. It's showing us date time question mark can't be assigned. So just let us make it nullable. Just make it nullable. Yes, so it has fixed our error. Now what we can do, if pick date time is not null, it means the user had picked some date. In that moment, we are going to open the time picker also. For that reason, we are creating time of day picked time, and here we will open our time picker, show time picker, and time initial time will be time of day dot now. So it's okay now. So now we have created this. If pick time is not null, it means the user also picked time. Now what we are going to do, in our date time, selected date time, we'll use date time, and it will be picked date time dot year, picked date time dot month, and picked date time dot day. Here it expects our year, month, day, and year the time, hours and minutes. So our minutes contained on pick time, so it will be picked time dot hour and picked time dot minute. It will be picked date time dot day. So now we have created this variable selected date time. After the user have picked, we need to set the state of the date controller to this value. It will be selected date time. Let us copy this. It will be dot to string. First we are opening date picker, and then we are opening time picker, and after the user had picked date and time, we are saving it to the date time controller as string. Now let us link this with the date time controller. Let us make it date and time, and when the user press this, it will open select date time function. And now let us try it. Okay, so now let us check it. It's also opening the keyboard for us, but we don't want the keyboard for it. For that reason, let's make it read only to true. It means that we cannot edit the value using keyboard, but we can read it. Now it's okay. We can pick up the date, and let us pick up the time. Now we are able to pick up the our date and time, and it will also give a chance to edit it. So that's really cool. Okay, so our date time is working and our event name and everything is working. Now let us focus on the image upload option, how we are going to pick up the image. Let us change the description max line to 5. Here we have a property of max line inside our custom import form, and we are going to use it here, and we will set it to 5. Let's just save it. Now the size of description field is now increased. Let's make it 4, and now it's okay. Here we can add big description. Now to use image in our app, we need to import a package file picker. Simply visit pub.dev and search for file picker. This is the package that we are going to need. Simply go to the installing part, copy this command, and now paste it inside your terminal. It will download the package for you. Now file picker dependency is now added in our code, so we can use it. In our create event page, now first we are going to make this controller clickable. We are going to wrap it with gesture detector. And here we are going to first create a function that will open our file picker. It will be void open file picker. It will be an asynchronous function, and here we will need file picker result. So this comes with file picker package, so make sure you have included properly, otherwise it will not work. Await file picker result, await file picker dot platform dot pick files. So it will open the file picker depending upon which platform it is. Now let us set the state. Before setting the state, we need to add file picker result. File picker result. It may be null, so we are using question mark. Now it is globally available. This file picker is now globally available. What we are going to do, we are going to set this file picker to the result of this file picker result. What I want is that when the user press this button, the file picker will open up, and when the user had picked up the image to upload, that image should show there that this is the image. That's what we are going to do. So what we are going to do here, in our container there is a gesture detector, and what we are going to do, on tab we are going to open our open file picker function that we have created. So this will open our file picker. Now it's saying it's missing some plugins. I think that we need to restart this app. You need to stop this app and rerun it. So now it's working. We have several images. Let us use some of them. Now it's not showing it here. We wanted to show it here. Now we have picked our image, but it's not showing it here. So to show that image here, what we can do, inside the container, we are having a child of column. What we can do, we can add a ternary logic. We can add that our file picker result is not equal to null. It means the user had picked some file. In that case, we are going to use cliprect. And there we will use the image. Image will be our file image. And it will be the file picker result. Dot files dot first dot part. We need to add a null check here. Now we need to import this file. So just import dart.io. This file is in dart.io, not dart.html. So make sure you do it accordingly. Now also add a null check here. It will be a colon. Now save it. The image is being shown, the image that we have now picked up from file picker. We can assign the fit of the image. Here we can use fit to box fit dot cover. It will cover the whole area like this. And what we can do, currently the edges are not rounded. We can make the edges rounded. We can use border radius. Now the edges are also rounded. Now here's the image. Now let us restart. If it's working or not, let's check it. Now here, when we are clicking on add image button, so it's working. Now so it's also working with other images. Instead of boxfit.cover, I think boxfit.fill will be more better option. So it's good, I think box. So let's keep that. Okay. Now it's okay. Now they can also add even name. Here we have missed our submit button or create button. So let us do that. Now after the sized box, let us create a button, or you can say let us create a switch. It is expecting a value. So let us create a value first. Here it will be a Boolean value, and it will be is in-person event or not. We are assigning it to true. So this is a variable is in-person event, and we are assigning it to true, and we are going to use this value here And in our on changed, we are going to use this value and we are going to change the value that the value is having. Suppose if it's on, then we are going to set it to true, and if it's not on, it means it's false. Let's save it. Now you can see we have a switch. It's not working because we need to use set state here. We need to wrap this inside set state, otherwise it will not work. So now it's working fine. One thing we can do, just change the color according to our UI. We can set the active color to our light green. And focus color to somewhat colors.green. Now it's okay. So now it's okay. Let's add a text. So for that, let us wrap it with a row. First we'll have a text here. It will say in-person event, and then it will have a sized box of width, or instead of size box, let us use a spacer. Now the is-person event is not visible, so let us add some text style that make it visible. Let's change the font size to 20. So now it's okay. It's showing is in-person event. So if this is in-person event, then it is true, and if it's not in-person event, the user can change it to false. Now we need a button after our row. Let's add a sized box of height 8, and then we are going to create a button. Let's use material button. You can use any button, but to customize it, I'm using material button. Your child will be our text. Create new event. So now it's very small. We need to decorate it. Set font size to 20 and font weight to W900. Now it's okay. But instead of this color, we can use it black. And we can change the color of this material button to our light green color. So now it's quite okay. Let us add a sized box as a parent here. Height will be 50 and width will be double dot infinity. So now it's looking more better. Now here everything is now working fine. Now let us write the database logic. First, we need a database where we are going to store all the events. For that, open your Appwrite Cloud Console and there visit Database Options, and here inside our database we are going to create another collection. It will be events. Here we are going to store all the events. There are several attributes that we need for our events like name, date and description. So let us create them one by one. First attribute will be our name. It will be a type of string. Let us give it size of 200 and make it required. Let us create another attribute. It will be description. It will also be string and max size to 1000. It is also required. Then an image. We need an image, so it will be a string. So let it be 100 or 200. It will also be required. We need location of the event. It will be a string 100. Now date time. It will be a type of date time. Make it required. And now here it will be created by. We will use this to identify which user has created this event. Make it required. Let us use some more attributes like whether it's an in-person event or not, is in person, and assign a Boolean value to it. Default value will be true. Let us create another attribute. It will be guest. It will be type of string. And our last attribute will be sponsors. It will be a string of 1000 and it will also be required. Let us create another attribute and it will be participants. It will be a type of string and it will be a type of array. Here the default size will be 100. We will have multiple number of participants. For that reason we are choosing array. So now it's okay. We have created all the attributes. Let us write our database logic. We have already written some database logic like saving user data and getting user data. Now below that, here we are going to write the database logic of how we are going to create new events and read those events. Let us create a function, create event. Here we will expect a name, a description, a location, and date of time, then created by, then is it in person or not, then guests, and then sponsors. Now it's okay. Let us write the logic. We are going to create new document, so we are going to use this databases dot create document. Database ID we have already defined at the top here. We have already defined it here, so it will be same, but the collection ID will be different. So here is the collection ID. Click here to copy and replace it. Now it needs document ID. It will be id.unique because it is the first time we are creating this event. It will not have any ID. Next step, we need data. So in our data we will pass, first we need to verify the names that we have as attribute here. If we do any mistake, it will not work. So simply just check all the data attributes that we have mentioned here. The spelling should be right, and the attributes that we have mentioned in Appwrite Cloud should be written in double quotes, and the name that we are expecting in this function. Second was our description, then image, location, date, time. So here we have forgot to mention our image. Date time created by is in person. So it will be in person. Is in person or not. Let it be is in person or not. Next, guess. So now we have written all the attributes. Now what we are going to do, when this document has been created, we are going to simply print for now that the document created or event created, and if we have any error, then we can print that error. So let me just again verify the names are right or not. Okay, so it's okay. Now we need to also write the logic for reading all the events that we have inside our database. So to read all events, we are going to create another function. It will be get all events. Here we are going to read all events that are present inside our database. We are going to use try catch. It will be await databases dot list documents. We need to specify a collection ID, this one. We don't need to define any queries here because we are going to read all the events, and then we are going to return data.documents. We also need a catch function. If we face any error, then we are going to simply print that error. Now it's done. Now let us use this function in our UI. First, you need to come to your Appwrite Cloud console. There you will find the storage option. Visit there. First, here we need to create a new bucket. In our case, we are giving the name as event images. Here we will store all the event images. Now we need to come to settings, and here, so let us give us a role that any user can read the events, and all the desired users can create, read and update the event. So any user can read the event, and only the selected or users can create, read and update, delete. So this is the permission that we are giving. Save it, and now keep everything as default. Here we need to create an upload image function that will upload the image inside our storage bucket in Appwrite. First, we need to create a new function. Let us create a function here to upload the event image. Upload event image to storage bucket. It will be a future function. Upload event image. It will be async, and here we will use try catch. If our file picker result is not null, it means that user had already picked an image. Now we need to create a file of return type of platform file, and the file name and variable will be file. It will be our file picker result dot files dot first. It means it will use the first file that the user picks up. Now we need to convert it to bytes, otherwise it will not be able to read it. Await file, and here we will specify our file dot path, add a null check, and then read as bytes. Okay, now we need to convert this to an input file now. So we are creating another variable input file, and using input file from bytes, and here we will use, in our bytes we will use our file bytes, and file name, let it be the file name the user is uploading, file.name, and then we are done. Now in our response, we will get a response after we upload. So we need to capture that response. But before that, we need to use the storage function that Appwrite provides us. So here, let us use storage. It's a function from Appwrite. We are creating a storage variable, and now we need to specify our client. Our client was in auth.dart. We've already written it. Now we also need something like bool is uploading, and we will set it to false currently. We will use this later on. Just inside our code, in our response, we can now use storage dot create file, and here we need to specify our bucket ID, file ID, and our file. Our file is the file that is there. So here it will be our input file, and our file ID will be id.unique, because it's the first time we are creating a new ID. We need to copy our bucket ID from here and paste it. So now we have our response. Let us also print that response dot $ID. It will give us the file ID, and we also need to return this ID because we are going to store this ID. We need this response dot $ID because we are going to store this in our events data collection. Response dot $ID. The $ID will give us the file ID, and else we will just print something went wrong. And now we need to also use our catch. If we get any error, we will simply print that error for now. When we are using upload event image, we can set is uploading to true at that moment. Set state and is uploading will be true. And finally, we can set state and change is uploading to false. Till that moment, we can show a circular progress indicator, or we can do anything that we like. Now we have written the logic for uploading our file. Now let us just test it. And here, the button that we have created, create new event. So on pressed callback, we are going to use this upload event image. It will either give some file ID or it will give some error. So let's check it. Now let's try to upload it. So we are getting a file ID. It means our file has been uploaded successfully. Let's just verify it. Inside our event image bucket, we can see the image has been uploaded. Now we are able to upload image. That's really great. We are adding a simple text validation here. If name controller dot text is an empty string, or description controller dot text is an empty string, or location controller dot text is an empty string, or date time controller is an empty string. In that case, we will show a snack bar. In that case, we will show a snack bar like scaffold messenger dot of context dot show snack bar. dot show snack bar, and in snack bar content will be a text. It will be event name, description, location, date and time are must. If the user had not filled the event image, description, location and date and time, then they will not be able to upload image. So let's save it, and if we now try to create a new event, it will say name, description, location, date and time are must. Here we are only uploading the event image, but we don't want to only save the event image, we also want to save the details of event. So for that, what we can do, first we will upload the event image, and then we will get the value, like the value will be the file ID of the image. Then we will create event. Here inside setting, we need to add permissions, otherwise it will not work. Only the users, all users can create, read, update, delete event, and any user can read the event. So this is the permission that we are creating. And now we have already written this create event function. Now we need to provide the name, description, image, and is completed, not on null. So here name will be our name controller dot text, description will be our description controller dot text, image will be the value, the file ID that we are receiving after uploading the file in Appwrite storage bucket, location will be our location controller dot text, date time will be our date time controller dot text. In our previous video, we have saved the user ID using shared preferences. So first we need to use that user ID. So here we need to define our string user ID, let it be empty string, and inside our init state we need to set our user ID to save data dot get user ID. Now we can use this user ID here while creating an event. Here it will be user ID, and is in-person event or not. We have created a if else is in person event, and then in guest we will use guest controller dot text. If the user had not written anything or given blank, then it will be uploaded as blank. Sponsor will be sponsor controller dot text. Now it's the thing that we have done. After we have created an event, we should also get a feedback. For that, we are going to create a snack bar, scaffold messenger dot of context dot show snack bar, and snack bar will be our text. Here we will show event created. And then we can push them back to our previous page. Then we can push them back to our home page using navigator.pop. Now it's okay. So now let's test it. let's try to not give anything and test it. Here it is saying name, event name, description, location, date and time are must. So let us provide an event name like coding for everyone, free code class for everyone. Location will be home. Let's give a date and time. So now let's try to create it. Here we are getting as event created. Here also we are getting as event created. So now let's check our documents. Now you can see that we have a document ID, name, description, image, location, date, time, and it is an in-person event. And here we are getting participant as empty list. Here we have not provided anything, but our created by is not working. So let us try to restart the app. Let us try to create one more event. Add an event name. Okay, now let's try to create it. Here we are getting as event created. Now let's check our database. Okay, so here we are getting, and inside our created by we are getting the user ID. In our previous one we didn't receive the created by because we were using shared preferences, and we need to restart our app, otherwise shared preferences would not work. We are being able to upload images in our storage bucket, and we are also being able to create new events and storing those data inside our events collection. Previously, we have written get all events function, which will list all the events that we have created inside our events collection. So let us use that inside our home page. First here, we are going to create a list of document. It will be events. We are setting it to an empty list. Let us import document from appwrite/models.dart. And now in our init state, we need to call the get all events function that we have created, and then we will receive the data.documents value. We are going to store that value inside our events list that we have created, like this. If we use both text and list, it will give us some problem. So for that reason, we need to use custom scroll view here. Let us use custom scroll view, and here we need to specify slivers. First will be sliver to box adapter. It accepts childs. Let it give this text as child. Now we will not see any change. Now after sliver to box adapter, we need to add sliver list. It will have a delegate of sliver child builder delegate, and here we are providing a basic style for now. So let us use less type, and our title will be our event name. So it was inside our events, and we'll get inside every specific index, then inside data, Inside data, it will be our name. Let us add some style, otherwise it will not be visible. Making font size to 20. In subtitle, we are going to use event location. So for that, we will not specify the font size here, but instead of name, it will be location. Now let's restart our app. Okay, so we have not provided the max count. So here we need to provide child count, and it will be events.length. Now let's restart the app. The response that we are getting from Appwrite Cloud Console, it's not getting showed here, because when we are calling the get all events function, it's sending a request to our Appwrite Cloud Console, and from there we are getting a response. But there is a delay in the response. Till that moment, we are not setting the state to the new one, so the UI is not changing. So let's fix it. So after we use get all events function, we are going to receive a value, and we are storing that value inside our events. And after that, we are going to call set state function. It will update our state. We don't need to do anything else. Now you can see our events are shown here. Now we can add like leading. It will be text, and it will be the index dot to string. Let's add the same text style. So let's make it $index +1. So now all our events are visible. So now let us try to create another event. So our event got created, but our UI is not getting refreshed here. If we restart, then we are getting the event. To make that work, we can use this. We need to copy this command, and we need to create another function that will be our refresh function. Here we'll do the same thing, but instead of using this multiple number of times, we will call the refresh function directly. So in our init state, it will call our refresh page function. It will call our refresh function. It will refresh the page in our init state. And when we use navigator.push, let it be an asynchronous function, and we will wait until this navigation.push completes, and then we will call the refresh function again. So this will solve our error. Now let us try to create one more. First, let us restart, and let us try to create one more event. So now as you can see, our new event is getting displayed here, and we are successfully able to store the event inside our events collection, and also we are successful in showing the events inside our home page. So that's all for this video. We will continue and update the UI of home page in the next part of this video, and we will also add update and delete events logic in our next part of this video. So that's all for this video. Thanks for watching.